Hello, everybody, and welcome to SA Sociology Hub. My name is Thandeka Sibanyoni, and in today's video, I just want to wish you a happy Women's Month. Wathint abafazi, Wathint Imbokodo. That is a translation for you strike a woman, you strike a rock. It is one of the most recognized phrases associated with this Women's Month, especially the march that was done on the 9th of August in 1956. And it generally speaks of, when we hear this word or just this phrase, we think of strength. So today I have my cup, my favorite cup, because we're going to speak about something that is very close to my heart, womanhood, right? And I just want to understand, or for us to just dive deeper into what it means to be a woman, because I am a woman myself. And I am here because I'm standing on the shoulders of those women who fought in a very different way, right? And so the whole notion around Wathint abafazi, Wathint Imbokodo was associated with resilience, resistance, and courage, right? And so the image of a woman, that signifies just the image of a woman who refuses to be moved, right? But the question is, why is a woman striked in the first place, right? Sishayelwani, like as women, umfazi ustrikelwani, like why are you striking the rock in the first place, right? But asikho lapho, guys, asikho lapho. My thing is just the women in 1956. Those, I mean, we talk about women like Lillian Ngoyi, Sophie de Bruyn, and those are just a few women among the 20,000 women who were marching to the union buildings to protest the extension of past laws to African women. Those women have had to fight, right? And not in a, no, they were not rowdy or, they didn't lose their womanhood, their femininity in today's age. They didn't lose their femininity in order to get their word across, right? And I just want us to look at how these women exercised agency. So agency is the ability for a person to exercise their own will. So when you choose to do something because you want to do it, that is you exercising your agency, right? And that's what we see in these women. Like, these women understood the structures that were around them. The laws did not allow for them to move around, to own land, to vote, but they stood, they acted anyways. And they were not victims of circumstance, right? They were political actors even in that. They organized, firstly, they mobilized, they resisted, and as Uzozibini would say, they took up space. They took up space, guys. So today I just want to speak about that idea, bring about something to say these women were, maybe that is one thing that they were leaving us with as the younger women, or the women of this generation, that women are not only shaped by society, we also shape society. So we're not always victims of circumstance, but we're also, through our choices, we're also active participants. We also shape society. Whether you act on it or not, you're shaping society. I mean, sociology teaches us that we're shaped by our families, by culture, by our workplaces, by gender norms, and the economies that we find ourselves in. So those influence who we are and how we do life, right? But being shaped by society does not only mean completely determined by society. Doesn't mean just because society says this is how you should do life as a woman, then that's the only thing. We have agency and we make our choices, and we can challenge those expectations that are placed on us. So today, South African women have freedoms that many of the women in 1956 were denied. Guys, we can vote, we have education, we own properties, abafazi. Guys, we're working, we're professionals, we're mothers, we're everything else. We're everything else outside of just being a woman, as someone's wife, and I don't know, just someone's wife and a mother, and it is such a privilege. We are those women's wildest dreams. Guys, they knew that there had to be more than just that, what we cannot be. And today we get to enjoy those privileges. And for that we say, Inkosi, Imbokodo. It's such a privilege. And so, but we're seeing a change now in what the expectations are, because we did change. Yes, there are more choices, but those choices don't mean fewer responsibilities or fewer expectations. So it's more like, because society still tells women what we're supposed to be. We're told, be educated, be successful. Oh, don't become too intimidating. You're too independent. Have a career. Don't neglect your family. Be independent. 10,000 steps a day. Exercise. Do there's just a lot on our plate as women. Or just, drink water. Take in your magnesium glycinate. Do this. Be a mother. Don't lose yourself. Be feminine. Be strong. Be ambitious. Remain nurturing. Like, guys, there's just a lot, right? And so this is where I think the question, there are things that we really need to question. The question that we should be asking is, why do we keep presenting womanhood as if it's a series of choices between two opposing identities? Because, why does being educated mean becoming less nurturing? Why does it mean for me to be ambitious, I need to care less about my family? Or to be independent, that I cannot desire having a partner or a man, or being strong means that I cannot be soft? Why do we keep telling women, choose? Why? And we're seeing that even in the feminist notion. It's like, as soon as you're like, yes, I'm pro men, I'm pro women and men living harmoniously, it's like, oh, you're such a pick-me-sha. In why do we have to choose that? And some women will even say, oh, I do not want to associate myself with feminism because it doesn't speak to nurturing. So it's like, the choices that we've been presented with, the privileges that we've been presented with, have become a battle again, like a space where we're fighting again. And why can't you just be both? Why can't you just be an educated woman who's a nurturing mother, or an ambitious woman who's connected to a family like Emma Grede or Professor Mamoketi, or Prof. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka? Those women are not choosing family over ambition. We are seeing them actively lead in their different roles, yet be women, family women, right? So this just shows that we can be financially independent and still want a partner, be strong, and still need support. You can embrace feminism and value aspects of tradition. You can reject certain traditions while choosing to keep others. I don't think the idea of liberation means that you should still be confined to a certain space, right? And so autonomy to me means having the capacity to decide for yourself. And I think that's what I'd like for us to leave with at the end of this video, that you know, when when we talk about autonomy or rights or freedom or the privilege that we get to experience, we should also speak about responsibility, because at the end of the day, having agency does not mean that our choices are without consequence. For example, if you choose motherhood, it carries responsibility. And if you're choosing career, that also comes with responsibility. And so it is on up to you to choose, or maybe ask yourself, did I make the choice consciously? Like, do I understand what this choice requires of me? And the other one might seem better than the other, but I think it's very important to not just go with social media and the things that are said on social media just because people feel we need to choose. You need to make sure that you know yourself and understand who you are as a woman, and look at everything else that has shaped you, and eat the bones and eat the meat, spit the bones, you know. So yes, women need to move beyond seeing themselves just through the lens of victimhood. We need to be aware that we experience structural inequality, we experience femicide, women experience violence, they experience discrimination. Women are not paid equally as men, as their male counterparts, but at the end of the day, women are agents and don't only experience society as that. They reproduce it, they negotiate and transform society. Even as if you decide to be like, oh, I'm not doing anything about maybe challenging a structure or just enjoying certain privileges, you are reshaping and negotiating and as well as transforming the structure. So that means we need to look at ourselves and ask ourselves uncomfortable questions as well as women, because we're not just victims. What are we teaching our daughters? What are we teaching our sons? How are we what expectations are we also placing on other women? That one is very, like, we can see it even in family spaces where sometimes it's women that are oppressive to women in the families, and they are the ones that are perpetuating toxic patriarchy or toxic traditions and just on women, right? So these are some of the things that we need to be aware of. So as you live and navigate life, you need to ask yourself, how am I perpetuating, what am I taking on, how am I perpetuating that, and what am I recreating as a woman? Because at the end of the day, I think liberation should expand our possibilities, to make us look beyond just what we can be given. It's like you're given flour, and with that flour you're like, oh, I can make amagwinya, I can make cakes, I can make itombolo. You're just, I that's how I look at it. It's more like not choosing, just embracing, being able to live on a human level and experience life with the capabilities that you have been given as a woman, and to embrace life for what it is, in your softness if you are soft, in your nurturing side if you are a nurturer, and just in that space, and perhaps you strike a woman, you strike a rock is a very powerful image, but maybe we should ask ourselves, does a woman always have to be a rock? Because does strength mean enduring everything? Does resilience mean carrying everything? I think we can look at it in a different perception, to say perhaps the next generation of women should not inherit just the expectation to be rocks, but to be foundations, because a rock can also be a foundation. So we can be strong, we can be soft, ambitious, and learn to be uncertain in certain moments, to lead and to follow, and to rest, to be nurtured, to receive and to give, and to just live a life that is full. So to the women of 1956, Siti Enkosi, we thank them for showing us that it is possible to be a woman and embrace all that you are in who you are. They protested silently. They were dressed up very beautiful. They were feminine, and still got the message across. And so maybe our question as today's women, we should ask ourselves that 70 years later, maybe our responsibility is not to just become like those women, but it is to use the space that they helped us create, that they created, and ask yourself, practice autonomy, practice your agency, and ask yourself, and not just be taken by what society is saying, especially in today's age. Ask yourself, what do you actually want? Why do you want that? Is this my choice, or is it something that I inherited because I'm learning it's an expectation? What kind of a woman am I becoming? And what kind of society am I creating with the choices that I make? So with that being said, happy Women's Month. I wish you all the best, and I hope that we can continue to thrive. And thank you so much for watching the video, and maybe please comment down below, what does it mean to be a woman for you? All right, thank you so much. I'll see you